On this week's show, we're discussing how video killed the... check notes. PlayStation killed physical media, the PlayStation 3 and Vita storefronts in one fell swoop, plus Xbox continue to contemplate more closures. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly gaming podcast, or it might as well be your bad news podcast, as we get together to round up all of the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV, available right here on YouTube and up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Your podcast players for the week are myself, Chris at Arcane Rogue, and the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie. Welcome back to another week. Another week. I feel like it's the same problem with a different coat of paint. Remember when we just covered game news?
Last week I did kind of predict this would happen. I was not expecting it to be this soon. This fucking industry, man. It's like, should we start a podcast? Remember when we started this show all them years ago, and it was about optimistic because good things are happening.
The emergence of cloud gaming, and then little did we know we would be, of course. We do have a great show lined up for you all, viewers and listeners out there who do tune in every week to get your kind of weekly dose of all the stories rounded up. But the state of things right now, we're in for one. But we've got loads of stuff to talk about. So without further delay, let's get into it. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the great news and the bad news and the middle news and the games, everything that's coming out. Follow us on social media, do all that magical stuff. Our weekly live stream this past week was PlayStation Retro Hunt. That went up. It was the Tomb Raider, I believe. Yeah. Tomb Raider one that went live for folks, so go check that one out. It's actually quite a good episode purely because I think I've stumbled across a rarer version of the Tomb Raider PlayStation edition. Oh. Because I've realised in my searchings for them, and I get into it in the PlayStation Retro Hunt video a little bit. Most people have the dual case where it's like two-sided, like Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasies, like the thicker ones.
Yeah,
that's like two-sided.
It's almost got like a little on the sleeve. It's got a little indent. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's one of those, and when you look on eBay, that seems to be the majority of them. However, I've got the traditional PlayStation game, which is just the normal shape box with the normal kind of wording and stuff. But then on the flip side, I have a silver one with white words on it, and I've never seen a platinum edition of a PlayStation game with the font, the text on the spine in white. So I've got like a collection of now 3 of them. And they're all varied, but I feel like one is the rarest one, and I hunt that down on the episode. So it's worthwhile. Go check it out. It's only about 20-odd minutes long. A little bit of history from Tomb Raider with the new one on the horizon, and a bit of nostalgia as well. So go check that one out. Richie, we like to always start each show every week with what we've been playing. I'm still on the Sackboy hunt. I'm literally 3 trophies from the end. However, the final one, which is like a time trial run, my word, this might as well be Elden Ring. The difficulty has cranked up. It's basically across the course of the game, you do 15 time trials, and you kind of unlock them gradually as you go through the stages. There's like a special bonus level as a time trial. This time trial is all of them levels merged together in one run. So to get the gold trophy, which I need to get the actual trophy, it's finish it in sub 10 minutes. However, I keep dying about a third in, and it's literally one life, and you have to go right back to the start. So it's like a 10-minute run I need to do. And it's thrown everything. It's Think Astrobot, the extreme challenges where it's just like, he's a flying thing, he's a spinny mincer thing, he's a couple of pitfalls, he's some chompy things. It's just like, it's ultimate chaos. I'm finding myself getting to about halfway. I spent 2 hours last night, got about halfway through. And then I just was like, I need to tap out. I need to step away. I need a break. I need to kind of like, I've got the opening third nailed. I'm an absolute pro at that. You'd think I was Neo in the Matrix knowing the code, but once I hit that point where I can't get past, trial and error, I can't even practice it.
Do you find sometimes when you're starting to get frustrated, you're like, I know what I'm doing, I can do it, then you make a mistake, you die, it's like, oh, start again. And it's like, actually what I need to do is I need to put this down, go to telly, go to bed, go to work next day and sit down fresh, not stressed, and then you do it first time, no problems.
Yeah, I do feel like it's probably going to be that one because
Maybe not always that extreme, but sometimes you'll be like, why was I getting stuck in that bit? It's because you're stressed, you're tensed up. But
it's just one of those things where it's so hard. It's so hard to do. And like I'm looking on like YouTube videos and some of them are doing it in like 8 and a bit minutes, so it's not impossible, and I do believe I can do it. It is just that case of it's going to be basically practice makes perfect, and I need to just keep going, keep chipping away, because when you watch the YouTube videos, it just looks absolutely seamless. They just hop around, jump around, tuck roll, and I would say I'm at that point where I'm quite proficient in the game because I've been playing it for a few weeks now. That's the only thing I've been playing. But yeah, I can't help but keep getting knocked off at like the last second, or something catches me on the foot, and then it's like, oh, that's like right back at the start. That's another 7 minutes I need to like grind away to try and get to this next point, and then I need to learn that whole area again. So it's a wild one, but don't know if I'm going to give up on it. I've got Black Flag coming this week, so I think it kind of like matters whether I just take a big break from it and go finish Black Flag.
I'm at a point nowadays where some games occasionally you'll get like one bullshit trophy in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I cannot be fucking bothered. It's not worth the effort. Like, I'd rather move on and play something else. That's what happened with me with Metal Gear Solid Delta. That's what happened with Octopath Adventure. I looked down and went, I cannot be bothered to go for these trophies. These trophies are insane compared to everything else on the list. It's not worth the probably 20 hours extra gameplay to get that one trophy when I could go and play something fun.
Yeah, it's all about prioritization, isn't it? And just like, are you having fun? Yes or no? Is it worth it? Yes or no? But then at the same time, there's the stubbornness element, which is like, I can do this. I know I can do it.
A bit of a developing pet hate of mine is games that require big games that require a hard mode playthrough. Cause like Pragmata, which is my next game I'm going to be playing, has a hard mode playthrough. It's like, why does it need it for a trophy list?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but you've picked a difficulty that you want to play the game on, that you won't have the experience on. So you're saying people who not as good at games or don't have the time to master them or have accessibility issues can't get the platinum.
Well, that's
I think it's like,
yeah,
stick the difficulty trophy in a DLC list.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's one thing where PlayStation first party since the PS4 era kind of got really good with it, where most of the games, you kind of by the time you got to the end of the campaign or the story, you were about 80% of the way there, I would say, to the platinum, and then it never made it to. It was usually like a couple of collectibles, a couple of like unique things you would have to do, but for the most part, I don't feel like when I finished like Spider-Man, Days Gone, Uncharted, like none of them were like overly like, oh, I need to go back and do this so many times.
The Final Fantasies, like I didn't get the platinum in Final Fantasy Rebirth because I just give up, because when I realised I was like 100 hours in and I had another full playthrough, I was like, I can't be bothered with that shit.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Is it The Witcher as well, where you need to go back and do a full playthrough on something to wrap out that one?
Yeah, deathmatch. It's like, I don't need to do that. It's not worth my time.
Well, do you think you might when the DLC comes out 10 years later?
I might.
See where you're at.
Probably not, though, to be honest. I don't know if I could be bothered to play through on that difficulty. I think I'd rather start again on a normal, reasonable difficulty, play through the story, and play through the DLCs. And
just enjoy it.
So my replay would be focused on refreshing me on the story to go into the DLCs, rather than trophy hunting.
That's fair.
At the moment, for me, I'm just playing Control, doing the Altered World events DLC. That's the Alan Wake one. I have 2 trophies to go.
Nice.
One is kill 25 airborne raiders. I think I'm on like 18.
Oh, so that's just chip away at that one.
Yeah, that's not going to be hard. And the last one is story, which I'm pretty much about to go to the last area. So in the DLC, but I haven't played in about 4 days. So
nice. Well,
so I'm pretty much done on that one, and then I've got the Foundation DLC to go into, and then some the Pragmata.
Oh, good stuff. The whole time we've been talking there about it, I've let the Sackboy video play, and for everyone who knows, the point he's reached now in the video, so all the time we've been talking, this is how far I've got, and that's halfway through. And that's where I'm stuck at. So if anyone's watching this on YouTube on Monday onwards, that's where I'm getting to, and that's only halfway through the time trial. So if you die at any point, it's right back to the start over and over again. But we digress, Richie. We've got loads to talk about, lots of game news, and we can't get into that until you introduce us to the
graciously gathered Gamer Guild Gazette, aka the
The
news.
news. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes. That's the fantastic folks at home who support us from as little as 99p. That extra little bit further, starting at 99p, we should say. They get early access to this very show. They get early access to PlayStation Retro Hunt, everything in between, sometimes some playthroughs and first looks. But there should be one in the pipeline, as I said, with Black Flag is probably going to be up at some point. I think it launches on the 9th, but I might get early access for the 8th or the 7th, so we'll see when the embargo is on that one, and we'll get some
Depends
content
how quickly
for Black
Amazon send out as well.
Yeah.
007 First Light got sent out really early.
Well, this one's coming from Ubisoft, so it should be embargo direct, yeah, because we're Ubisoft partners still, somehow. But, I mean, I guess we haven't given that much shit over the last couple of years, right? We've been lovely and kind to Ubisoft. Wink, wink.
We'll be objective.
That's true, that would be an objective. That is a good way to put it. But, Richie, stepping aside from Ubisoft onto another massive rake, the week couldn't go by without some tough news to digest. And on July the 1st, PlayStation thought that they'd ring in the new month with a blog post. And it's usually like, here's your PlayStation Plus games, or an announcement of a new game, or we've got a partnership with Grand Theft Auto, plays best on PS5. No, they thought they were going to absolutely flip the game board, disrupt the world and the industry as we know it, and announce, reading direct from the blog post, physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. I'll read the full thing because it's quite a short blog, actually. In response to shifting trends in consumer preference, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This is from Sid Schumann, Senior Director. As consumer preferences in the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that have already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where player preference to purchase new games is, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class game experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. End of short blog.
Do you want to just get all the announcements out and just group this together? Because I feel like it's all in context of each other.
I feel like I want to keep the second one to a side because it is a slight. I mean, yeah, I guess in a way it's the same one.
We can put the PS3 Vita stuff aside, but I wanted to kind of bring in the whole Sony basically removing films from your library as well. They announced that this week as well.
I mean, yeah, that's a layer to this whole story.
Films that you have bought and that are in your digital library, they're not just they're removing from the store, they're removing access for you to watch them. And the reason I bring that up is because they're getting rid of physical media for video games, which if they can do it with movies, they can do it with games.
I mean, as I sit here with an entire wall behind me of memories, nostalgia, proof of my purchases, we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, and it was ironically not related to this at all, but we were talking about accounts. I think in the last couple of months we talked about account hacking as well, and we've referenced that your partner, same thing, had that very experience of like she lost all of her trophies, her account was hacked, all gone.
Didn't get anything back.
And PlayStation have turned around this week and said in a year and a half's time, that's it. Everything's digital. So everything you purchase And when we say purchase, it should technically be rent, because you don't own it if it's digital.
You're buying a license. Whether it's actually this is disc versions as well, you're buying a license to use that software. So even with a disc, technically, Sony could revoke that license by putting a piece of software in the way. But with older consoles, for example, take the PS2, was not connected to the internet. There was no downloads, no digital updates to your game. You bought that disc, you put it in, there's your game. And if you own the PS2 and the game, you can still play it to this date.
I've brought my...
That's the one Chris has shown you.
Right there. I've brought along my visual history of PlayStation, because this will be the last edition of this book that's actually got...
But the reason I was keen to bring in the movie thing is because I've talked about this as a potential downside for digital only for a while. And this isn't actually now a hypothetical scenario. This is Sony doing this via PlayStation, actually, about a different type of entertainment, but through the same storefront as games. And that is incredibly worrying, because you could have spent thousands of pounds on games and then it's go, you can't have that anymore because of digital rights. We no longer have the right to distribute this. Therefore, you can no longer access it.
Yeah. There's so many threads to pull out for this story, but I think ultimately the internet, the world, I know our audience, you and me specifically, were very much like physical collectors. It's utter shit. And it was just like I had like a wee like not existential moment, but like a moment like I've got bad news in my family this week. You know about it, but we won't get into that here. And then at the same time, I think within that day, I then got home and got this news. Not comparing apples to oranges. And then at the same time, my Halifax app apparently told me that I'm getting everything switched over to Lloyd's as well. Totally didn't know that was coming. So that was a case where I felt like within about 2-3 hours, I got life-changing news in the family. My entire hobby, interest, passion, that's no longer existing in its current format. And then my bank, who's my mortgage, my joint account, my credit card, my daughter's savings account, everything all tied up in Halifax. Oh, that's all going to change. And you sit there. I think I laid there on the bed and I was just like, that's too much change for one Thursday afternoon or whatever it was.
They want to consolidate their branding efforts, probably to save a bit of money. But that means products that you've been engaged with will probably eventually disappear over time as they update terms of services and stuff.
Yeah, so it was kind of like I laid there thinking, like, as I said, like history, like family member, my entire life, PlayStation, my entire life, the bank I've been with since I was 15, my entire life, all within like a few hours, like they're going to change, that's going to change, that's going to change. And you're just like, I need a drink. I'm not cut out for this. But then to bring it full circle back around to PlayStation, I mean, it confirms a few things.
Can we try and find a positive spin on this? Because I can't find one. I've been trying to think about it.
I mean,
they're saying it's because how their customers interact with it. But there's reported anywhere between 15 and 25%. So let's just call it 20 for the sake of this. 20% of people buy games physically. That's a lot of people.
There's millions and millions of people.
And honestly, I'm just going to call out that utter bullshit. It's not about, we want to double down on how people provide better service, how people engage with it. Fuck off, is it?
Is it?
You want to destroy the secondhand gaming market. Mm-hmm. You want to destroy game sharing, and it is just greed. Yeah.
It's sheer...
I know times are hard for businesses, but sometimes shit is still just greed.
Yeah. It's the case of, well, me, it feels like just disregard your entire history, legacy, and the nostalgia to shave an extra couple of dollars off your bottom end.
On stage, E3, they give Xbox shit for game sharing, and this is how you share a game with PlayStation. Handed over a disc.
Yep, Shuhei Yoshida stood there with, I want to say Adam Boynes, I think it was at the time, and just went, that's how you share a game. Done. Yeah. And handed it over, and it was like, that's brilliant. And then essentially that short little sketch they pulled together overnight essentially won them the PlayStation 4 generation, which ironically in turn won them the digital library generation, which Phil Spencer spoke about, which is why Xbox are so far behind. And then if they're anything with this news, they're just doubling down on that. They are locking you to their platform where you can't take your games anywhere else. You will rent them, you lease them. Like, yes, you've purchased them and they'll be yours as long as the service exists, but there will be a time And it's as much as it doesn't seem like that in the digital world we live in, Richie, fast forward 30, 40 years, if you want to play a game that was only released on PS5, or I guess PS6, 30, 40, 50 years, that game probably will not exist. And I guess that backends it with the other news that we'll get into of servers being shut down. And in this world where AI and RAM space and stuff, do you really think in 34 years' time that random niche PS6 game that you love but no one else really picked up on will still be available on an online service when you've already alluded to a little bit, but licensing comes into it? On my wall behind me sits about 6 or 7 PlayStation 3 games that were part of the Marvel Activision kind of run. Can't buy them online now. Deadpool, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 2.
Which
can't buy them online.
If they're committing to maintain and present the ability to download and like update these games for people who've previously bought them, but nowhere have they said that they are. Like, well, let's bring in the PS3 and the Vita stores are getting closed down, and nowhere in their blog post about that have they said that you can actually download them. If you go on your PS3 and download a game that you bought digitally, they do not say you can do that.
I think this is the problem, isn't it? Is they give us the news without really giving us any.
They've done a shit dump this in the space of a day or two because they knew they had some bad news. Grand Theft Auto announced the digital thing, so like this is the moment to strike. Xbox is stepping on rakes left, right, and center. So while the Grand Theft Auto news is alluding to this is going to be the way the things forward, did codes and boxes, if you can be bothered with a box going forward. They've decided to do a bad news day all in one go.
Yeah.
To stop instead of spreading it out over weeks, and they've decided long ago that the PS6 is going to be digital only, and at some point they needed to announce this on the run up. There's just shit.
There's just loads. I'm like trying to think. Like just off the top of my head, like certain ones that I know that I've like gathered over the years. Spec Ops: The Line, which is a phenomenal game, brilliant story, released on PlayStation 3. It's not available on the PlayStation Store now because of it got pulled for the controversy or rights or the developer closed down. I can't remember what it was, but it's not there. So like a game I actively want to play now, unless it gets a remaster or a port, like it's stranded in the past. But if I wanted to, go get a PS3, go get a copy of the game, and the entire thing is there on the disc. Which I know is a false argument with modern games because there's often a day one patch and a lot of it doesn't come on the disc and stuff. However, I think my biggest thing as a collector is that video game preservation, that a lot of artistry, hard work, talent, albeit it might have not hit the heights and sold millions of copies or ever got a sequel or the studio might have shut down or whatever it may be, but to people out there, that game will be one of their favourite games of their childhood. It'll be memories they've had with their partner. It'll be something that got them through hard times. And it's just gone.
It's just never going to be a mass consumer product, but is an artistic masterpiece. These things exist.
And they'll just go. They'll be gone. And you're right. I think the part of the statement is they mention nothing about how they're going to future-proof it going forward. There's no reassurances here that they're doubling down on security for PSN networks. Remember the PSN outage that spanned, several months over Christmas that year?
Well,
what happens when it goes down? If we have discs, we can still play our games offline to a degree.
What makes the PS3 news particularly bad is PS3 games cannot natively be played on a PS5.
Nope. Should we bring in the second blog post, what they hit us with? So the whacked us with one stick and then they hit us with another one. Reading from the beloved PlayStation blog, they also state that these released simultaneously. I kind of think they'll put them out together to see kind of which one will shuffle the other one under the rug.
This is what I mean. They decided to have a bad news day and just dumped free stories
just get it
in
out
one
there.
go.
Yeah, I mean they're probably hoping Xbox will do something like within 3-4 days to just one up them, hold my beer, and do something else.
They'll take the lumps, and in a couple of weeks' time they'll moved on. And to go back to the 80% of people playing digitally, the 20%, if you can't buy physically, probably at least 15% of them people just have to switch over to digital purchases. And then they've also, physical games depreciate a lot quicker than physical games. Just sort of think retailers like Amazon need to store it, so when they're not selling as well, they discount them quicker than digital. So PlayStation will make up that loss of revenue very easily by having more control of things like sales and get no secondhand games or no discounted physical retails.
I mean, we're getting the secondhand markets. Like, remind me on a bit, because I want to play a little bit of a game with us, with you and me and our audience right here, where we'll find some games. I'll look for them on the PlayStation Store. You look for them on Amazon. And we'll compare in the moment exactly the price difference of old games, and we'll find out. But to read from the second blog, then at the same time, they say Sid Schumann again, bless him. Sid seems like a really nice guy. Senior director at Sony, he's been there for years. He's been in all generations of PlayStation. He has to come out and deliver this shit news. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PlayStation 3 console generation, we wanted to let you know that we'll be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3, as well as on the PlayStation Vita. Vita means life. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, followed by global closures for PS3 and Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PS Store closes on these devices. To ease the transition, players will be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. So that remedies what you said a little bit, Richie. If you've already bought something, you can download it for the time being.
But he's also saying that is to ease the transition, and it's not
foreseeable
guaranteed.
Future.
It's foreseeable future. I mean, they don't currently have plans to do it, but they could.
It's coming. It's pretty much prefacing that it's coming. As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support modern commerce systems, including updated payment processing standards, PS3 and Vita are no longer able to support these updates at the level required. As a result, we'll need to close some stores in certain time frames as follows. Mexico, not with you this week, but after the fact, unfortunately, come August this year, you are losing access to those storefronts. Same with Honduras and Nicaragua. Additional Latin America, Middle East countries will also be closing start of late 2026. In all other countries, it will be July 2027. So I'm guessing that's the main ones, like Europe and America is going to be the last ones. We know this news may be disappointing to PS3 and Vita players who hold a special place in their hearts for this generation of gaming. PS3 and Vita represent an important era in our PlayStation history, so it was not an easy decision for us to make. As we continue to expand the PS experience on newer devices that most of our users are playing today, we need to focus our resources more on delivering the best game experience on these platforms as we look ahead to the future. He rounds out with some like nice words and stuff. But it's interesting, Richie. I'm just going to read that exact same sentence again, but I'm going to fast forward 30 years and change one or two of the words out. So fast forward to 2056. We're sat there.
We're time traveling, guys.
Hold on. Close to retirement, I guess. It's not Sid Schumann because he's probably retired, but we know this news may be disappointing to PS6 and PlayStation Portal owners, who hold a special place in their hearts for this generation of gaming. PlayStation 6 and PlayStation Portal represents an important era in our PlayStation history, so it wasn't an easy decision for us to make. The difference is, when that's read out in 30-odd years, everything you owned on that digital store, gone. He's reading that here, PS3 and Vita, doesn't bother me, because guess what? I can still just stick the disc or the cartridge in and it plays fine. And that's the point, is like, it's all well and good. And I get it, it's an old console, it's an old generation, but because they've not pushed forward, in some's lot,
storefronts are going to have to close down.
Which I get that, that's fair.
I'm going to give him the credit. He's saying it's down to things like payment processing and stuff, and they don't. It doesn't make sense to constantly keep updating it, like the store for the PS3 when it's literally 2.5 generations later.
Yeah, agreed.
So I get that, but the worst thing about this for me is the PS3 games cannot play natively in your PS5, so you fucked that up. Where I'm going to give Xbox some credit for once. Mm-hmm. You can just boot up your Xbox Series X and buy an original Xbox game from the store. It is the same storefront, and the game works. Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. Their backwards compatibility programs is fantastic.
So, while for the foreseeable future, until they change their mind and decide these games are taking up too much space on their servers and decide they want to use the storage space for something else, you can download games that you've previously purchased.
Yeah, well, this also throws up like a different conundrum. For one, it pretty much confirms next gen is going to be digital only, right? If they're saying 2028, that kind of pigeonholes that the PS6 will probably come out holiday 2028. They've got all the discs out the way. They've got them out of the system. PS5 will kind of chug along a little bit that year. But then 2028 will launch in the PS6. It's digital only. My query there, Richie, is you saying about forwards compatibility. You can't put your PS3 disc in. You're playing Control, right, on PS5?
Yes.
You bought the disc copy.
Yes.
They've done great this generation with PS4 to PS5 games playing on the PS5. How is your Control disc going to work with your PS6 if it doesn't have a disc drive? So is that a case of fuck you all?
There may be stuff they do on the launch of the PS6 where they can go, you know what, go, this will have a game key somewhere. You can stick your disc into your PlayStation on your account and it gets replaced with a digital version. But that means if I'm about to play Pragmata, which I bought for my partner, that would be locked to an account.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing something like Nintendo are with game sharing, which I doubt.
But that wouldn't still, so you'd have to go into your, I guess, put the disc in your PS5, select something that says share digital management, and then send that to your PS6 account platform.
You'll upgrade to a PS6 version of it for about £15 to get it, and it'll give you a digital.
Do you think there's still charges for the luxury of forward compatibility?
Well, if you want to update a PS4 game to a PS5 version, you have to pay. You don't have to do that.
Not every game. Didn't with Horizon and a few of the first part where they backtracked.
Because they got a lot of backlash. Which
they should for this. It's just a whole messy thing, isn't it?
Again, don't have to do that on Xbox. Xbox have been eating shit and will continue to eat shit from us in the foreseeable future.
The story's coming up soon.
Again, these are things that Xbox have done way better, and this is where the stuff for PlayStation really comes into play.
Yeah.
Now, I have the PS5 version of Control because I bought it there and I got the Game of the Year edition with the DLCs already included. But again, it's like little things like sharing games with my partner. This kills it.
Sharing games with my brother. My brother borrows about half of my library because when I finish it, I go.
Games with you. My partner has
yeah.
Although I now own Astrobot, a physical version of it, I got the platinum on your copy.
Oh, that makes me feel good. But well, I'll tell you what, let's play our game then, Richie, about a digital future.
Yeah, okay.
While we do this, let us know in the comments below, like what pisses you off the most about this news out there. We'd love to hear from you. So you mentioned Astrobot as our first one.
Yes.
So I'm going to search for Astrobot on the PlayStation Store.
Astrobot.
I'll bring it up for our audience so they can see at home as well. So Astrobot currently on the PlayStation Store. If you wanted to buy it now, bear in mind this game's 2-year-old now. $59.99.
$44.95
on
with
Amazon.
Prime. Oh, I have Amazon Prime, so
okay.
that's I'm going to
cheaper.
Put that as a caveat of that.
Cheaper by what? £15?
Yeah.
Okay.
RRP is $59.99, so yes, 25% off.
Let's go Spider-Man. Just the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. Actually, go Spider-Man remastered for the PS5. We'll keep it current.
Spider-Man PS5.
I have. How old is this now? It was a PS4 game that got a PS5 remaster, wasn't it? So the remaster version, $49.99.
I'm still looking for a version. Amazon is not coming up with the one. Can we do 2?
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, $69.99.
Oh, really?
Yep, 70 quid for Spider-Man 2 on PS5 right now.
Jesus. Amazon, $39.95.
I mean, need we go on? Let's have another one. God of War.
Actually, I can go cheaper. I found it cheaper. It's still on Amazon, $35.49.
God of War Ragnarok. PlayStation currently, $69.99.
God of War Rag.
£70 on the PlayStation Store right now for a 3-year-old game.
Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok, £70. First listing, and actually the one I personally purchased, $29.48.
Half price. So if you cannot see it, because I've seen people online defending this, as a consumer, regardless of if you're all in on digital, great. You love digital, you got your library, and you know what, I don't hate digital.
The
I get it.
is fantastic.
Convenience, absolutely love it. There's nothing that makes me smile more when a game I've got on disc comes on PlayStation Plus, and I own it digitally. So then I have 2 copies. I've got a real one on my shelf, and I've got a copy that I don't have to put a disc in. I don't have to get off my ass to go put in.
But
I get
PlayStation don't handle trophies well for that situation.
They don't. However, in 3 quick examples of some top-tier PlayStation games from their first party, there is proof. Do you think GTA, the new one, GTA 6, that's going digital, is ever going to get a discount?
It might do,
but it doesn't. But it doesn't need to, because it's not competing with anything this time.
Yeah, Sony will be in complete control of when discounts happen. It won't be down to market forces like Amazon. Amazon have shit in their warehouse, which to give Sony credit on this one, I could not find the PS5 version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So we had to go Spider-Man 2 because they probably don't have any copies left.
I mean, you had that problem recently with Indiana Jones, right? They just didn't make enough PS5 copies, and clearly the market's gone. They're all sold out everywhere.
Digital doesn't have that problem.
Yeah.
But it comes down to consumer choice.
Agreed.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
This is the big thing for me is I do engage in digital gaming. I've engaged in we started off as a cloud gaming focus with Google Stadia. Everything we got was digital because it was cloud-based.
Couldn't be helped.
That was the nature of that technology, but that had the offset of not paying arguably about £900+ for a console.
Mm-hmm.
The console was free, so
you could buy 1,000 games with the money you've offset.
Yeah,
it just goes to show you, doesn't it? Though, like that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's controlling the price book, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's literally nothing you can do about it.
No,
and
because if you choose not to do anything, Sony have done the calculus on that. Doing a protest and going, I'm going to abandon PlayStation. They know some people will, but guess what? They probably millions upon millions of people who will buy a PlayStation to play Grand Theft Auto 6 do not give a fuck about this news.
No. And they don't have to. Again, a lot of people, digital futures, they honestly won't care. We've got a few friends who are all digital, and that's great. But this is when it should be about choice. And I think as far as consumerism goes, there needs to be something done. And I honestly do think there probably will be. I've seen this news shared across like BBC News and The Guardian, and it's been picked up beyond.
I don't know what they can do, though. I don't know if legal recourse. I
mean, consumer practice, right? There must be a way that they can lean in things like poor internet connectivity restrictions, price and affordability. Like there should be compliance regulators in place to stop that.
This counts for all of this because what Grand Theft Auto are doing is still doing box copies, just not doing a disc.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
So you can still go to third party retailer, so they're not having a monopoly. For download stuff, they can argue is when was the last time the full game was actually on the disc? Probably in PS4 generation. That is it's standard market practice to have downloads now. I don't know. I really don't think there's any legal recourse, unfortunately.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone's going to do it, I think it's the EU. They managed to get Apple to change to USB-C. That's pretty big pull. I think if there's enough wind, I think it will definitely be raised in. Again, this is industries bigger than music, television, and cinema combined. So there's enough money and weight for it to definitely be brought up by the powers that be. I just think there needs to be that thing for, as you said, when I think of chess pieces that get the government moving, you've got to think of jobs. There's going to be lots of people out with jobs here, whether it's in factories, production, couriers who deliver stuff, or entire businesses like the High Street Game, CX, Cash Converters, all these second-hand companies that trade with this product. They're now impacted by this. Limited run games, they're probably dead in the water now, right? Eventually. How are you going to make physical hardware for something that doesn't have a disk drive?
This is a massive hit to them. They're going to probably double down on Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, until Nintendo do it, because I think part of this news also confirms that Project Helix is probably going to be digital only. Let's not forget the lovely little Series S that we love so much, Richie. That was the first one to go all digital.
Well, I think at the start of this generation, we kind of predicted this was the way it was going when both Xbox and PlayStation launched a digital-only console. And I went for the Series S because, to me, that was a secondary console and was a Game Pass machine.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's a lot of, I think, history that we look back on. And I think that popping the disc in, the little wear of the startup, the boot up noise and stuff, like that's the history of it all. And I know that that's not really an element that comes into play with it, but I just think this is very much the kind of last nail in the what gaming used to be coffin. It's evolved as all technology does, but it does feel like this is like a significant, like I said, the knock-on effect of like, you're not going to, like, if you go into a store, who's going to be shopping around for like a piece of paper with a code on it? Like, how are you going to give your child or your niece or your nephew or something that, like, oh, I bought you a video game for Christmas or your birthday, but you have to take this PSN voucher and go over to the store and then download the voucher, add it to your wallet, then go to the store and then buy it. Merry Christmas. It all just feels...
The box becomes redundant. Imagine if that collection on the shelf behind you, instead of having physical discs in the boxes, you just got a strip of paper with a code. It'd feel completely pointless.
It's hollow.
Keeping the box. Because once you've used that code, you can't use it again.
Mm-hmm.
So what? The box is protecting a piece of paper that is worthless.
Yeah. I mean, GTA is going to do it, but then ultimately, do you think PlayStation 6 actually still has like physical boxes with slips in? Or is it just a case of you get like a little credit card from supermarket?
I think they will, because by providing physical ways of getting a digital code, it means it's harder to cry monopoly on the storefront. You can still go to other retailers. We're not stopping that. We're just not producing discs. And only about 15% of people use the discs anyway.
How long until that's just gone, though? Like, I know they said in the blog, like, oh, we'll support retailers, but I do feel like Amazon and stuff, I'm sure will continue to have the box with the code in. But once they get them diminish returns down to, like, why would Amazon even bother listing it when
CEX,
it's just a code?
CEX should be absolutely kicking off with this because...
Yeah.
Well, the reason I own a copy of Astrobot is because I traded in my partner's copy of Ghost of Yotei, because we bought two physical versions, and I traded that in for Astrobot. So I went to CEX, traded in a physical copy, walked out with a different game. That is now dead with this news. That can't happen again.
And you know what pains me with that, and what I think the understated thing is kids and people who maybe don't have the ability to spend the money on it. Like me, like I'm sure many people in their youth traded in many, many games to say, like, you trade 2 or 3 in to get a bit of money to get that one. Or I said you hold off for second hand because you might not just have the cash to drop 70, 80 quid on God of War or the latest title. So all those, I think, people out there in like a world that's like definitely more pushed towards the breadline with finances and inflation, everything going up.
And with how expensive games are.
Yeah.
Like,
so I know we always joke, but poor little Timmy, who when we were younger, you would save up your pocket money, or you'd maybe trade in some older games, or you'd scrounge stuff together. He doesn't have a chance now because he needs to save up that exact £70-80 to buy it. And
this doesn't appeal to all executives at the places like Sony and Xbox. If you truly want to show that you're doing this for cost cutting because in necessity, take a 50% pay cut. Just fucking do it. You can live with less money, but your price gouging, it won't make a dent in your overall finances of your company. But as a show of good faith, take that fucking hit yourself first before you ask consumers to constantly eat shit, which is what you're doing right now. You keep putting up the price of your hardware, you keep putting up the price of the games. You're getting rid of the ways we can purchase games. Games are not even as higher quality objectively as in like 5-10 years ago. It's like we're in an industry that has overstretched itself because a bunch of people wanted to make as much money as they could out of it and have fucking gutted it. And it's creativity and that gets killed, and it's consumers that get fucked over.
Yeah. Who suffers the most in this situation? It's the creators and the consumers.
Yeah.
Both ends of the spectrum. The people who make the art, the people who enjoy the art, and it's all the penny pinchers in between and the big wigs at the top who want all of their extra. They want their 10% year-on-year revenue, and they want the shares, and they want that this and that. But do they ever sit down and actually enjoy the shit that gets made? Yeah. Probably not, because they're all little bean counters in their suits.
Don't you just want to sit them all down, give them a good slap, and tell them to stop playing at running a fucking business and just run a fucking business. Stop. Focus on getting good products out for reasonable price, and consumers will buy them. rather constantly like messing around. How can we make more money for our shareholders who are making a fuck ton anyway?
Yeah. And then this all goes back to then, surely, Richie, with no disk drive, that must mean the PlayStation 6 price can come down.
No, of course it won't.
Of course it won't. But then it doubles down of like, so you're getting rid of discs, and then now PS5 Pro at the moment's about 790 quid. So the PS6 and the Xbox Project Helix are rumoured to be in and around probably the 900 to 1,000 mark. You do wonder, like, what are they going to do when they try and get that install base out? And then people like you and me, hardcore people, are going to go, I don't think we're there day one. Sorry, this needs to come down. But then how many years into the life cycle of the PS6 and they haven't hit the heights of the units sold that the PS4 and the PS5 did, that they start to panic and go, we've killed our audience somehow.
The next generation is, the first few years are going to flop and flop hard. Because we're at diminishing returns in terms of what you can get out the consoles. I don't think people are buying bigger TVs than, like, say, 4K. So while, yes, your games will be better and run better and stuff and look a bit prettier, it's like, I don't feel there's any real demand for Project Helix or Xbox or PlayStation 6. And with the current component shortages, the price going through the roof is like, and on top of everything else we're dealing with, I don't feel any people have the spare cash to buy a luxury that feels completely superfluous. It's what I was saying last week. The only way I can see PS6 being a success if it launches in 2027 or 2028 is if they have a huge library of first-party PlayStation 6 only games, and that would be highly controversial.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to do it. They don't have enough studios left.
Yeah. So, are you interested in buying a PS6 day one?
I mean, I'm always interested because I want to be there for the tech, but if it rears its head round, it's like I've got 3 months' notice to scrounge together $1,000. That's easier said than done.
If in this news they came out tomorrow and went in, I don't know, October, November 2027, PlayStation 6 comes out, it's going to be 800 quid. I'm going to go, no thanks. I don't need it.
Isn't it?
I just don't. I don't need it. I don't see the. I don't see the value, and I don't know what they could put in front of me to go, yeah, you're right, I should buy this.
Yeah, well, give us some indictment here. You've got Push Square, who's obviously PlayStation specific website. They've done some polls, 3,000 plus votes. They've said, given everything we know, how interested are you in a PS6? Top of the leaderboard, 29% said, nope, I was interested, but not anymore. 20% said, nah, my interest is slipping away. With 15% said, no, I have zero interest in PS6 and it's staying that way. So that's a good chunk of the votes are just like, nope. Only 6% said yes, but it all depends on the games. Another 6% said I'm cautiously optimistic despite everything. And 12% said they're looking forward to the release.
The following poll is quite interesting as well.
Yeah,
What's the main reason you'd skip the PS6 at launch? 27%, the price too high. 38%, a lack of support for physical media. You have to bear in mind this is swayed by
fresh off the back of it as well.
Fresh off the back of it, and people who consume this content online.
Yeah.
13% being happy to stick with my PS5 or PS5 Pro. Bear in mind, I feel like that would have been higher if it wasn't for people going for the first two. Only 10%, I don't plan on skipping PS6 at launch. 8% moving to a different platform. 5% launch games not appealing to me, which is a weird choice when we don't have a clue what
we don't know, yeah. I'm not interested in game I don't know about. But it just goes to show you the hardcore of the hardcore who tune into Push Square websites, who listen to this show. They're already kind of making their mind up. And if you can't convince your hardcore audience, how are you going to expect random person who only plays Call of Duty, FIFA and Grand Theft Auto to fork out 900 quid and then 80 quid for the game and then the controller and all the other stuff?
GTA 6 is going to be supporting on PS5 for forever.
Till the servers are shut down.
And yeah, EAFC probably got at least 4 or 5 titles.
Well, that's
on PS5.
Yeah,
but if the adoption of PS6 is slow, they'll
stick with the PS5.
They'll stick with the PS5 because it's like Just Dance still a few years ago was still pushing games to the Wii because they were still selling games on the Wii. They're going to sell where people are, and I feel like PS6 is a very, very hard sell right now. Unless the AI bubble completely bursts in the next year, and we suddenly have a massive amount of deflation in prices, people start having like a bit of more spare cash, disposable income. That's the term I was looking for. But none of that, I think, is likely.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a world, Richie, where the PS4 is still getting releases now. That came out in 2013. So here we are 13 years later, 5 and a bit years into the PS5 life cycle, and you're still getting like Tomb Raider Remaster Collection, Little Nightmares 3, Black Ops 7, FC 26, Sonic Shadow Generations, Atomfall. Like, these are like some huge games from the last couple of years. WWE 2K. Like, they all came out on PS4. So,
well, interestingly enough, I thought for a while, if someone hadn't played any games at all for the last 20 years and went, I'm interested in getting back into console gaming. I don't know if it's going to be for me if I'm going to get back into it properly.
Fully, yeah.
What would you say a good way back into would be? I go, check out the PS4.
Yeah.
It's not the most latest console. You're not going to get the latest and greatest, but the library in that console is fucking amazing. You can pick up on CEX a PS4 500 gigabyte for 90 quid. You can probably buy a bunch of games from CEX for about $5-10 a pop. You can go into CEX for 200 quid, walk out with enough games to last about a couple of years. And after that point, you can go, yeah, you know what, this was worthwhile investment. I'm going to upgrade the PS5.
And then there's a sad irony about how slow this PlayStation first party about getting games out is if you had a PS4, you could still play God of War Ragnarok, you could still play The Last of Us Part 2, you could still play Ghost of Tsushima, you could still play
Miles Morales.
Yeah, there's like so many games
You can't play Spider-Man 2, but you can play Miles Morales.
You can play Naughty Dog's last game because they haven't put another one out since Last of Us Part 2. Like, that's how long it's taking. So actually, you can dig into a generation 6 years later.
Horizon?
Yeah,
Horizon
Forbidden West still there, yeah. Which these are all like current.
EFC still supported.
Yeah. And obviously, your evergreen ones, Fortnite, Minecraft, Apex Legends, they're all still there. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Sub £100, go fill your boots on a bunch of classics, or subscribe to PlayStation Plus. They're all probably in there for free by now anyway, for the most part.
Yeah, I've just checked. EA Sports FC there's PS4 versions of it, and that's for 26.
Probably runs like shit, but yeah, fill your boots. So customers aren't happy.
Though, that's the thing.
I mean, it won't run as good as it should.
No, it won't.
So yeah. So to summarize. Next gen digital only. Welcome to the digital future. Backwards compatibility, we have no idea. Sharing with friends and family, dead in the water. Secondhand markets, dead in the water. Video game preservation, we don't know yet. Do they even care? Who knows if they're making that extra percentage on top of the margins. Where's consumer law and regulators to step in and protect us?
Well, I think the best bet is the PlayStation is deleting 551 movies. Like, that's the best way. This is our best bet of getting any kind of legal action. I think that's to do with Studio Canal and video licenses. And again, these are movies that you have purchased that they are removing from your library.
I mean, again, I think the big crux of a lot of it is going to be music. If you remember when Vice City came out, it had like Michael Jackson and stuff in. But when it got its re-release on the PS4 and that deluxe edition with all 3 games, didn't have the song because they couldn't get it again. So then that game is very different from like when you get into a car and you hear that 80s music and go, oh, it's missing a few things. Rayman, the composer died and they didn't have the rights to it. So the Rayman remaster is not a faithful retelling of the original. Looks great, doesn't sound the same. It's falsifying it. What else is heavy? Like Sackboy, what I'm playing at the moment, that's got some main, like Britney Spears, Toxic and stuff's in it. Once that license done, watch Sackboy get redone. Metal Gear Solid, they had to re-license the World War II footage that they'd used in Metal Gear Solid 3 for Delta. All these complications and problems.
I'm not even talking about being able to repurchase stuff or buy or purchase remaster. These are movies that you have purchased, you've probably watched, and you might want to go back and watch again. That's Sony going, no, we are removing these from your library. You are not allowed to do that anymore. And now imagine if they did that to a game. Mafia: The Old Country. My partner bought it digitally because Agos didn't have any in stock and we wanted to play. She wanted to play straight away, so she decided to buy a digital version. I have the plans to buy a physical version later. Suddenly, PlayStation go, nah, you can't play that anymore, delete it from my library. That's what we're talking about as potential, but it's not even that potential because the PlayStation Store is doing it with movies.
Yeah. And this is where we need reassurances, right? If they're giving us an all digital future, I want to know, is my PSN security being booked? I mean, the thing is, they can't keep them up forever, right? We've seen it in the exact same time, blog post number 2, the PS3 and the Vita stores are gone. 20 years later, yes, 2 decades have passed, I get it, that's fine, it's going to happen at some point, but you had a physical option still there. You won't with your PS6. So I testify it again when you are, or we, in the generations that listen to this now, in 30 years' time, 40 years' time, if the world even still exists at that point, your PS6 games that you love from your childhood or you love playing at the time, they might not be there. And there's nothing you can do about it, no matter how much you spend.
A blog post is not a legal contract. Like, Sid Schumann next week gets the sack on the back of like a big
it's your fault, Sid.
They put someone else in play who then does the Asher Sharman go, yeah, we're getting rid of all this shit.
It comes with a disc drive.
Sender was announced, and then now it's up for sale.
That's a whole other thing, isn't it? We'll get into that anyway, should we?
Strategies can shift, like
they can, and I think the backlash might be something that, are they willing to bite the bullet and sour their entire customer base, or are they going, you know what, the amount of money we'll make off the back of it, we don't care because we'll control the storefront.
We have to remember, for people like us who listen to shows like ours, we're the vocal minority, and it is a minority. We are the minority of gamers. Yeah. We are by far probably the most passionate, so they probably should give us a bit of credence. But Asher Sharma is looking at Twitter as guidance, which is just a cesspit. Like, the majority of gamers do not engage in video game use. Yeah, they see a billboard for GTA or EA Sports FC or college football or whatever it is you're playing, and buy it.
Done.
Don't care where they buy it.
Well, if you wanted a positive thing out of all this, Richie, that wall behind me is going to be worth a lot more in the years to come. And in a weird roundabout way, you know what does, I guess, give me some added, like, I can sleep at night now. There might be a point where I don't need to worry about running out of space, because after PS5, I don't need any more shelves because I'm not going to be buying any more discs.
You could also sell your collection to buy a bigger house.
I might need to sell it to afford a PS6 at this rate.
Yeah, I think for me, my plan is just to go physical only as much as I possibly can until I'm forced to otherwise. Because,
yeah.
There
you go. There you have it, everybody. Physical media, as we know it in the games industry, is dead. And it's all PlayStation's fault.
We sack off Sony and Xbox and just all become Nintendo fanboys.
I mean, Project Helix is going that way, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, we say that, but remember, a lot of Nintendo games comes with that digital only. Pokemon Pokopia, that was just a digital card. Just Dance I bought. Game share.
You can share digital games.
Yeah, so true. So that kind of caveats it a little bit. Yeah. Until they cancel Game Share in 20 years' time.
But you are losing in the trade. Yeah, probably at the end of the Switch 2 life
like, sorry, you can't Game Share to the Switch 3. Maybe. Again, the stuff that we just don't know, and that's the thing, that there's no guarantee. But when we get to that point in years and years to come, they said it's different people in charge, different audiences. The majority of the audience won't care, but it's like, it's not about who cares. It's not about the minority. It's about, for me, things like secondhand markets, video game preservation, and cost and affordability in today's world.
None of that makes them money.
So why would they care? Speaking of making money, Richie, let's turn our attentions to story number 2 of the week. We'll flip over to the Xbox side to give them some shit now, because that's what we like to do. Take turns, everything's fair. I've
praised them a few times. Now they're going to get it.
No one gets out of here alive with us. Xbox is reportedly considering closing State of Decay studio Undead Labs. These are the ones who are behind the State of Decay series. In State of Decay 3, presumably, was on track. It was showcased earlier this month. It was shown off, I feel like, in 2020. But amongst all the news of Xbox and Asher Sharma doing this reset, which we should point out, now we're in July, Richie, we've hit that fiscal quarter, whatever Microsoft look at. So all these rumoured layoffs and bad news, it's imminent.
The quoted bloodbath is coming.
Monday morning, I would not want to be in the office Monday morning when shit's like this. Fast forward to this show next week, we're going to be sitting here and probably have concrete proof of all the news we've been speculating about. So yeah, we know Double Fine, Compulsion. You mentioned Senua with Ninja Theory, all being discussed. Undead Labs, it's their turn. Apparently they're also at risk. Should Microsoft fail to find buyers for the studios, according to reports, hundreds could be left out of jobs. That's 110 jobs for Undead Labs, 100 jobs for Double Fine, 90 jobs at Compulsion, and 135 for Ninja Theory. As I said, State of Decay 3 seemingly is like almost ready to go. I think they said 2027, so it's like in its final run. However, it's set to be at risk of closure, and it makes me wonder over to you, was the showcase another claim of, here's a game that's almost done, does someone want to please come in and buy it off us, because they either don't have the faith in it to run the servers long term because it's an online game, they don't think the audience is there, is this a tax write-off? Just close the studio, don't put the game out, like Warner Brothers did that with that Wile E. Coyote movie. They just went, it finished and they just wrote it off. The Batwoman, was it Batwoman or Batgirl movie?
Because
wrote it off.
if they don't release it, they can't speculate.
It's tax-free, right?
It's tax-free. We estimated it was going to make 100 million pounds, so we've written off 100 million pounds.
Done, off the books. So yeah, this big reset includes that.
What annoys me is Microsoft could just go to, say, Undead Labs and go, right, we're going to set a deadline, end of July. If we haven't got any serious offers on the table, you are free to go independent. You are free to go independent. Not, you can buy yourself out. You can just go, because that way they could at least walk away. Yes, funding is dried up, but there's 110 people not immediately put out work. As if Microsoft turn around and go, nah, all you is fuck off, you're sacked.
I mean, they'd probably put it nicer than that. But
no, they'll put it in corporate speak. That doesn't make it nicer.
They'll put it into ChatGPT. Oh, sorry, Copilot. They use Copilot at Microsoft. It'll be, please tell me how I can tell 110 people to fuck off in a nice professional manner.
Without getting sued.
Without getting sued or the public hating us. I mean, where are you at on State of Decay? You and me played State of Decay 2 on Game Pass and via Cloud Gaming a couple of years ago. I had fun as well. I enjoyed the layered complexity of like going out into the wild and trying to gather resources and coming back to home base and crafting and doing another run. But I think was it up to 4-player, I believe? Bit clunky.
Yeah, I feel it's got a community behind it. It's one of them games that it's not going to be your top tier game ever, but it'll always have a solid community behind it. You know, when you hear like random games that you don't expect, like things like Ark Raiders, and go, oh shit, that game's still got a stable community. Mm-hmm. State of Decay feels like one of them where people keep going back year after year after year after year.
I mean, fucking Counter-Strike. I feel like Counter-Strike's been going our entire lives. It's just ever present. But yeah, I'd agree with that. And again, zombies are always kind of relevant, aren't they? They go around in cycles every Halloween. They get a bit of an uplift.
That's fun survival mechanics.
But you'd imagine, again, State of Decay 3, with it being so close to finish, it's a guaranteed known quantity. It's probably going to be the best version of the game. All the mistakes and problems they had with 1 and 2, they've probably rectified and expanded upon. So it should be the best version of it, you would think. And it's coming to Game Pass. And remember, Microsoft acquired the studio after State of Decay 2, so they obviously saw something in them that they wanted them in-house.
And they've basically funded the full development of State of Decay 3.
Probably 200 million or something.
I think they look at it going, I think Microsoft, not Xbox, are wanting to recoup as much money as they can from Activision Blizzard deal as possible. By selling a studio that has a game good to go might be enticing to a publisher.
I mean, yeah, if you're like a Tencent or someone who's looking to like get in on a quick cash grab, if you can put up a 50 million capital to see this game over the line and maybe take on the staff, this is where the PUBG guys, Crafton,
take on the staff for long.
No, but I mean, Crafton saved Ghostwire Tokyo. People,
but
right?
Crafton are also the guys who are trying to fuck over Subnautica, so
true,
maybe not the best example.
But then Callisto Protocol, was decent from them. Like they're trying to do stuff beyond PUBG, which I appreciate from them. Like, yes, they've done some bad practices, but
probably not the people you want to come in to save your studio.
No, but then at the same time, what are your options? You've got Tencent. Who's the other big company that snaps them all up behind the scenes? They've been doing it for years. Tencent and it sounds like a mobile provider. I feel like they're a French company. Tencent. The PIF group, what's theirs called? PIF Gaming Investment. Savvy Games Group. That's it. They've got shares in Nintendo, Take-Two, EA buyout. Them and Affinity Partners, 55 billion. That was it. That was in partnership with Trump's son, right? He was like one of the stakeholders of it. So I don't know. I can't remember how that's progressing, but yeah, they were buying EA for 55 billion. The portfolio also includes things like the Embracer Group. So yeah, the Savvy Games Group, which is the kind of the front name that umbrellas all this, where really it's the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. 55 billion to get EA, yet they don't spend that much on Newcastle United. Just saying.
They're not allowed to, though.
They're not allowed to, different rules. But yeah, so aside from that, we don't know, but we'll probably find out next week when Microsoft put out another blog post.
For something like this, I think it depends on how much they're asking for it, because I could see some interested parties, but Ubisoft are still restructuring themselves. EA seems stable, so they could be interested if the numbers are right.
Yeah.
But the fact that Microsoft want rid of them as the game's about to come out doesn't...
It doesn't...
You'd be like, we need to really do our due diligence on this, guys.
Yeah.
Like...
It doesn't look good though, but then again, it paints a picture, and we said it a lot last week with all the news of the other three studios. With Microsoft apparently going back to its roots and resetting, what does this look like for Game Pass going forward? Like, if they shut all these studios, that's maybe 4 or 5 games in the next cycle that there's no one there to put them out. So yes, they do State of Decay 3 now. Maybe they move on to another IP after this. Maybe they do State of Decay 4. Who knows? The other ones, Senua, Team Ninja, what are they doing? Double Fine, after they've wrapped up on Keeper and Kiln, what's their next one? The other rumour that happened this week was apparently Obsidian were also on the table, because again, it's everyone who seemed to have wrapped up recently, and Obsidian put out, did they do Oblivion Remaster as well?
I don't.
They did. They've got Ground. So. Oh no, sorry. Obsidian was Grounded 2, Avowed, and Outer Worlds 2. Yes, so they got 3 games out, but currently nothing on the table. Now, to you and me, we just got to get them on a Fallout Vegas remaster, or get them on the next Fallout. Why Bethesda crack on doing Elder Scrolls 6, which is going to take forever. Get someone on it, and Obsidian have proof and practice with the New Vegas. But,
even if it's a smaller Fallout title.
But clearly they're looking at this and going like, oh, we could just write them off and close them down. Jason Schreier has corroborated, though, that despite a report this morning, he's saying that Obsidian is not in negotiations to avoid shutdown. Plenty of details are up in the air around layoffs, but he has said on Blue Sky that the picture will be clear come Monday. So again, that's new fiscal year. Weekend off. Monday will be...
Asher Sharma to walk into work Monday morning and went, right, you're fired. You're okay for now. But yeah.
I'm expecting a Xbox Wire post on Monday or Tuesday. That's to all staff at Microsoft Xbox. This is the current state of affairs. And she'll do some big AI blog that has lots of buzzwords. We'll sit here and read it next week, or you will as the host, and we'll be in the exact same place where sorry Ninja Theory, sorry Double Fine, sorry Compulsion, great on your award-winning game South of Midnight, not good enough. Shut down. But it's all right, because they got Candy Crush and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And not on disc.
And to make matters worse for Xbox, you mentioned Game Pass. What are the left if they keep getting rid of these the first-party studios? Well, they're also cutting back on third-party Game Pass deals, some of them that have already been signed.
Yep. That's another string to it. Yeah. So, yeah, bringing that's a great segue. Bringing that story, yeah, there's another layer to this that, reading from Eurogamer, Microsoft may have hit pause on signing any more third-party Game Pass deals, What it's doing is, during its restructuring, as reported, it's not opening the checkbook up anytime soon. This news comes from former Raw Fury Sales and Business Development Officer Fernando Rizzo, who's now a partner at game commercial advisory company Caboodle. And he was saying on his video game podcast this week, he was at a trade show in Italy recently and heard word on the streets that loads of people who were in the frame to get Game Pass deals, so like indie studios and developers and stuff, said nothing's been inked yet. The deals were in advanced discussions. Everybody's just had the rug pulled out from under them. And I quote again, I don't think Game Pass is over, given that the new incoming leadership have talked a lot about Game Pass, but he does think a lot of stuff is on pause. They're trying to figure it out. That's my read anyway. For the time being, it seems like Game Pass deals, just like he did one at Caboodle Games earlier in the year, and get the feeling that they might have been one of the last ones that did. So again, this goes back to currently Microsoft for many years now have been throwing money at indie studios, and lots of developers have came out and said, you know what, the cost of the game, all covered, lads, because we've got Big Daddy Microsoft gave us a big ton of cash, our overheads are covered, let's get this game out, it's going on Game Pass day one. Woohoo. Anything we make after that, pure profit. Win-win. Seemingly Microsoft are tightening the purse strings on that as well now, and that worries me for the future of Game Pass, because are we not going to hit another void in 18 months' time where there's nothing in the chamber because of these deals and closures and everything else?
My prediction for Helix and Game Pass is first-party titles only, apart from stuff that's already out there, and probably with it a year after the initial launch. So a new game comes out, let's say Halo comes out.
Yep.
You will have to buy it if you want a day and date, or you can wait a year and get it for free on Game Pass. That's where I think they'll probably end up going.
Do we think there's a chance Game Pass goes with Project Helix? Like they just go, it hasn't worked, so. We sink too much money into it, we're throwing our exclusives away at pennies. Just let's recommit. Project Helix is first party is exclusive. What I've just
described is basic Game Pass and name only, because it's not really the promise of Game Pass. It's more akin to something like a PlayStation Plus, where you have a library of titles available, but you don't get your day and dates. So your biggest titles on release you have to buy. You might get some indies added and stuff here and there, some choice indies, and then all the titles. I think Xbox could commit to their full library of all the titles and rely on the big ticket sales of the new games, your new Halos, your Fables, your Gears, stuff of that nature. Day and date, fork up the money. Later on, they will come to Game Pass if you're willing to wait, because then because they will want to keep that subscription service, because that's money, that's regular recurring money, which accountants love. So if you can, it's predictable rather than this spiky income of individual game purchases. Yeah. Which is probably why Xbox switched over to try and get Game Pass anyway, because it's more predictable revenue. It makes a more stable business. But unfortunately, it doesn't quite work in the gaming industry.
Yeah, it goes back to pretty much what we discussed at length last week, doesn't it? Of just, it's starting to feel more and more between costs. Remember only last week that we were discussing the price of the consoles going up for a third time. So now the Series X and stuff has got pushed up to the absolute ceiling max, and then Game Pass seemingly is going to be a bit threadbare on content, and they've got 2 exclusives coming out as we head into Project Helix, but the rest are going multi-platform, and they're in third place with maybe 35 million units of hardware sold, most of them being Series S. It does just read like I just think they're at a loss for an answer. And I think they've got themselves in this place through their own decisions and stepping on them rakes that we like to talk about. But with talent going out the door, studios being closed, they need a win, and I just can't see them really. I don't think Project Helix is going to get them that. I think they're going to be right back. If we just said PlayStation 6 is going to struggle to sell, how is unless everyone pivots and suddenly goes, Xbox has the absolute go-to. If they got GTA 6 exclusive, maybe they could change the needle. But I think
the only game we're talking about would be something like an Elder Scrolls 6 exclusive to Xbox Helix.
But then again, they're not at the point there where it's not enough people to really make it. Like, I wouldn't be interested in that. So you're not getting me to buy an Xbox off the back of it.
I think with how big Skyrim was. Skyrim, it was probably akin to like a GTA 5 at launch.
I would say like a
obviously,
Witcher.
I'd say it's big. It was bigger than The Witcher by far.
Really?
Yeah, I generally think it was similar, like in terms of cultural impact, to something like GTA 5.
Right.
But GTA 5 then had online, which is sustained
Yeah,
for such a long period of time. Skyrim did not.
You can play Skyrim on a fridge or a pregnancy test if you want to, though.
Well, that's my point. It's like stuff like that happens because of the cultural impact of that game.
Very true.
Yeah, so
but then
Elder Scrolls 6 has the potential.
Yeah.
But it'd have to be fucking amazing looking.
And then at the same time, are they not on that
and
point?
that's also a bad news story, because then you're going, oh yeah, if you only have a PlayStation, you can't have this game that you'd be expecting to have on PlayStation.
But then if you are a bean counter on Microsoft and you go, there's at that point, remember this is post GTA 6 launch, PlayStation 5 has probably passed the 100 million unit mark. Are you really going to sit there and go, if we put Elder Scrolls on PS5, that's 100 million units and customers that we could potentially dip out. And if it is as culturally significant as you said, that's either take a huge potential loss just to keep it exclusive.
Elder Scrolls 6 on its own could not do it.
Well, it's all right. We've got the new Halo.
You'd be putting that up against PlayStation's entire library. Anything like a God of War 3 potentially after
Spider-Man 3, Last of Us 3,
Spider-Man 3, yeah,
New Horizon, Uncharted, like all of that stuff. Just it pisses all over.
And if you're in the position to only buy one console, which with the price of them going into the next generation is highly likely for the huge majority of consumers.
Yeah,
like you've got a decision to make. Do you bypass Elder Scrolls for everything PlayStation's offering, or do you gamble with Xbox?
I mean, it's definitely a make or break gamble, isn't it?
It is. It's a gamble. It's a gamble either way. That's the thing. It's like there's no sure thing.
Crazy. Well, I mean, another layer to this is in and amongst all the Game Pass deals, IO Interactive, the folks who just put out the fantastic 007 First Light, they put out a post, and I'll read directly from it, or a tweet, I should say. Dear gaming community, for a good while, it's been all positive news from IO Interactive. We remain humbled and honoured by the response to our latest outing with the young, unproven James Bond, a bold new story and a take on one of the most famous characters in entertainment, which the world has embraced with love. Completely agree. It's up there for my Game of the Year discussion. Loved it to pieces. Can't wait for a sequel. However, today we have to share some more downbeat news. A relationship with an external partner on our own IP, Project Fantasy, as it's been dubbed, has come to an end. This means we have to adapt to this new reality and probably lack of funding now, and its short-term consequences, including staffing decisions, which is what is happening as we write this update. And we are fully committed to supporting those affected through the challenging transition. Project Fantasy is a game, a world, and an IP that we absolutely love and remain 100% committed to now and in the future. This wonderful universe will see the light of day. The reality, though, unfortunately, Richie, is because of their external funding have pulled out, which we know is Microsoft. It was at one of the shareholders' reports, and it's literally there. It says second-party partners, IO Interactive, Project Fantasy. So we've got it in ink that it was them.
It might not be Microsoft. They might have other partners, but it's likely to be Microsoft.
No, we've seen it. Like the literal financial reports say IO Interactive, Project Fantasy on Microsoft's timeline for Game Pass. It was on one of the Game Pass schedules. So it's gone. So Microsoft.
My point is they could have more than one partner.
Oh yeah, it might be, but I think it was going to be a Game Pass exclusive, probably, or free day one or something. And off the back of us saying about the Game Pass deals getting shuttered, this seems to be one of the biggest ones. So they're having to, even though they've had success of First Light, probably just coming up on 5 million units sold. It's going to be at the Game Awards, Game of the Year discussion. Absolutely, it should and deserves a sequel. Yeah, undisputed success. A great move from IO to move on from Hitman and bring Bond to the masses again. As I said in the blog, all of that good news, and immediately their next project, where they're trying to do something a little bit different, something new, they're now having to rethink it. It's great to see that they seemingly have enough confidence in it to stick with it and do it their own way, I guess. But it just shows you like the ripple effect of funding and decisions.
I'm going to be softer on IO, because although it looks like they are unfortunately having to do layoffs, it feels like this is Microsoft, hypothetically, forcing their hand by removing funding that was going to pay for these jobs. And IO, unlike Microsoft, is an independent developer.
Mm-hmm.
they rely on these external deals. So Microsoft fucking around, assuming this is Microsoft,
It is.
it's just lost more people their jobs.
Yeah. And you can imagine the reason being is because they'll have probably staffed up to pre-production on Project Fantasy
Based
while
on
they were wrapping up Bond.
The promise of this funding.
Yeah. And then now you would imagine, depending on how a sequel to Bond goes, their primary focus is probably going to be to get another Bond game out in the next 4 years. So Project Fantasy naturally will probably take a back seat, which means less staff, less funding.
Amazon wants to be more involved in the next Bond game. IO may not want to be involved if Amazon are trying to take too much creative control.
Well, that's a whole other argument, isn't it? But it just shows you that even success
the world of Bond is not a guarantee for them. That's my point.
Yeah. But seemingly going back to the well of money, it's gone. Can you remember Project Fantasy at all? We discussed it on the show when it was announced, when they made like their initial announcement. Their website still has like a page dedicated to it. So it says it was basically going to be like a Lord of the Rings, a D&D style. Project Fantasy, a new adventure begins at IO Interactive. Join the party and help us realise our vision for a bold new online fantasy RPG. They go on to say, it's now been a decade since we first imagined creating the world of Assassination. 7 years ago, we launched into this world, and it's infinite, insane, they go on and go on. Now we're sharing with you all that we've embarked on a new adventure, one that expands our creativity and capabilities, and in some senses, our identity. We're building a new world, a new IP, an online fantasy RPG, a world and a game built from the core to entertain players and expand for many years to come. It feels familiar, yet at the same time, IO is going on a journey unlike we've ever been on before. And they go on to talk about kings and knights and wizards and lizards and fighting and storytelling, villains, guides, heroes, all that creativity, bringing it all together. And then they kind of go through like the team of who's there. So it was very like much a snippet, but it was them laying out probably what they did to Microsoft in their pitch. Of like, we've got a great idea for a game. We're a proven studio. We've got a great track record. Now Bond's out, even better track record, you would argue. And yet they still have to make layoffs to get their new IP out the door.
Because unfortunately, we are in
the worst timeline.
We are. We're in an industry that overexerted itself during COVID. There was massive growth. Everyone and the mother got involved. Didn't make as much money as we were hoping for. So now they're pulling out. And then AI has become the new hot button thing that all tech bros are getting into. Is causing everything to cost a lot more money. Add on top of the cost of living crisis, which affects business because it means staff remuneration needs to try and keep in line. If you're a decent employer, you don't want your staff to starve. People deserve to earn a decent living. That puts up the cost of game development. So it is just this thing that's just spiraling out of control in the Western world, and especially in games and tech and people's lives. And it's going. We are seeing effectively a crash of the gaming industry.
Yeah.
We're losing good developers through no fault of their own. Because they just can't afford to make games.
Crazy.
And people can't afford to buy as many games as they used to. And then bad decisions from it's just
what a world we live in.
It feels endless.
I mean, at some point, you're right. It's got to plateau, or you hit rock bottom, or something where it's like, right, what do we got left? Time to pick up the pieces.
We've still got a lot of distance to fall. That's what worries me.
You
do
do
like
wonder.
The fall is going quicker. Like I'm predicting the start of the next generation to be a complete flop financially, and that could push Sony and Xbox into full-on crisis mode if the PS6 and the Helix do not sell because people can't afford or do not want them consoles right now.
And then what happens? You don't have the money coming in to make the games, so the games slow down, more studio, and do we just end up in a world where Nintendo and Sony have to pull together and finally get round to making the Nintendo PlayStation?
In 20 years' time, this is where Nintendo's still taking over, bringing out Mario 400, and new players have moved into it. Into the market, and Sony and Xbox are gone.
The Nintendo PlayStation will finally see the light of day after 45 years or whatever it may come to, where they finally go, you know what, we're both Japanese companies, the industry's fucked, let's just pull together whatever resources we've got left and make the PlayStation, Switch 5, Hybrid, Portal, PSP, SNES. Something like that. But should we get away from that and just get into some quick fire good news?
Is the good news, Chris?
Well, the good news is Atari is coming to save us all Richie.
Atari's going to replace PlayStation.
Atari
coming
is
back.
is back from the brink. I mean, I guess they are from the brink, yeah, because they died off in what, the late 80s, early 90s.
They actually, I think, died. I think Atari at one point was shut down. Like, it's beyond the
Just
brink.
absolutely done. Which, yeah, okay, fair enough. They went, but they're back. They're now a publisher. They bounced back over the last few years, making a couple of acquisitions here and there, leaning into their retro nostalgia. We had it on Stadia, didn't we? We covered a few of their kind of remaster games where we had like, was it Centipede? And I can't remember any of the other games, but we played about 6 or 7. Arachnid, I feel like was one of them, where they kind of redid them in like a cool version where. But either way, their latest edition, they've grabbed Thunderful. So recently they've acquired a couple of other studios. They got Digital Eclipse, Implicit Conversions, and Night Dive Studios, I think, off the top of my head. But yes, they've said on their blog post, as you may have seen, Thunderful has joined the Atari family, and our games will now feature on Atari alongside Bubsy 4D, Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Thief the Dark Project Remastered, and more. So they don't have a ton of games, but they're slowly kind of bringing it back around. Any thoughts on Atari? Any games that I was thinking when Thunderful games, I always remember in the Stadia days, Mark Hamill announcing a game for Stadia, and I was like, never thought I'd see Mark Hamill sit there and mention Google Stadia in a straight to camera bit during lockdown. I think it was like 2020, 2021. I was like, what is even happening here?
Yeah, it's nice to see a legacy developer actually doing stuff. Who was Thunderful owned by previously?
I think they were just a private group of I think it was just a private publisher that collected a bunch of indie game. I have good vibes from them. I don't know what. I think Steamworld Dig were some of the ones that put, like, they seem to have a keen eye for
Steamworld games are fun.
Good indie games. But beyond that, I don't know. They must have put out a couple ones.
I think they were, until the Atari purchase, they were independent.
What games have they got on the list for audio listeners out
there? The wiki page doesn't actually say.
Does their website?
I will find out.
Thunderful Games. So you've got 4 SteamWorld Dig games? SteamWorld Dig 1, 2.
The website also doesn't say.
That's not very good. Either way, Thunderful Games is there. Atari are on the rise. Next quick story. Naughty Dog apparently chose to remake The Last of Us Part 1 remaster instead of Uncharted 1. This comes off the back of, I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, the Amy Hennig's Uncharted 4. It's a great YouTube video. It's like a companion video that's pulled together like a documentary. And in the video, the gentleman who pulled together, Michael Kemp, he basically said he got scrapings of snippets of this, video clips. He had mocap. I mentioned at the time, but he had clips of the full actors in their suits doing scenes that do not exist in Uncharted 4. And he painted a picture that had an entire Henry Avery's pirate ship was a playable level, and you were going to go back in the past and play as a pirate in a flashback. Loads of stuff. If you've not seen it, go check it out. It's about an hour and a bit long. It is basically like watching a documentary of an Uncharted 4 that doesn't exist. But within that podcast, he was on Sacred Symbols, and I listened to most of it. And he said in there, they basically remade an entire scene from Uncharted 1 in the Uncharted 4 graphics as a test run. They presented that, and it went, we could do this if we get it approved. And then they realised that the Uncharted 1 was so old, I guess, that it needed a bit more modernization in terms of its level design, its set pieces, and the controls. So they decided, actually, no, we're going to go with the one that takes less work, which was The Last of Us, inevitably. And we got the remake, and the remake's great, and it looks gorgeous. But Richie, this goes back to what we keep saying, is where is the Uncharted 1, 2, and 3? Easy win, easy port. Microsoft doing it with Halo. They did it for Gears.
It's not. I don't think it's as easy as you think. One, the PS3, which makes them awkward.
Blue Point done the PS4 port, so they have them on modern tech.
But they're remasters. They've already done as remasters. What they're talking about here is a remake. So they're taking the design docs and redoing it. That's a lot more work. That's equivalent to making a game from scratch, where a remaster isn't as much. Where this is where I think the difference is that they realised Uncharted 1 would require a remake. Last of Us 1 could get away with a remaster.
But Uncharted, Last of Us 1 was on PS3 though. Then it got a PS4 port.
Yeah,
And
but
then, but
Last
it's
of Us 1
all
came
internal
out
at Naughty
after
Dog.
Uncharted 3. So, they've learned a lot of the first 3 Uncharted before they did Last of Us 1.
Well, they did a vertical slice. And the reason we know
Yeah.
about it is because even in the Last of Us remaster, there is coding that says like Elena character model, Nate character model, Sully character model. So like you can see in the remaster of Last of Us, the coding is still in there for when they were using the people and characters. I think this is one of those things where I hate to hear it, but I do think it's in an inevitability that we'll see it at some point.
Yeah.
I just think it might not be now, it might not be in 5 years, but at some point they will remake the Uncharted trilogy up to modern standards, and it'll be great.
The issue is, though, who's going to make it? Because I don't think Naughty Dog will do it, because they're more interested, I think, on pursuing the next thing, which is probably one of the reasons why they went with Last of Us rather than Uncharted. Less work, get it out, get the money coming in to fund the next project. Blue Point are gone.
Well, they would have been my first choice, which we've said many a times, haven't we?
Yeah. So it's like, well, it just comes down to, with how the industry's consolidating, what studio is going to make this?
It's a great question. You know what I've just realised as well?
What?
The worst part about this collection is by the time it sees the light of day, it probably won't get a physical release.
No, it won't.
Because there won't be a disc. So my
if
favourite franchise of all
now,
time. Yeah, exactly. It's not hitting that deadline.
Now, we're talking this as a PS6 game. And they should focus on it being a PS6 game, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Assuming
a launch
the
game.
console lifespan. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
But I would argue that is the business perspective where they go, you know what, this should be a PS6 only title. Focus on getting the best out of it from the PS6.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'd go, get it fucking for PS5. No one wants a PS6.
Oh, could you imagine that though? They announced the PS6. Day one launch game is Uncharted 1, fully remade, better action, better gameplay, the best visuals you've ever seen. I think I'd have to be there for day one for that. But then the disappointment, back to story number 1 of the week, that disappointment of, as a collector and as a huge fan, I ain't going to get like a special edition steelbook ring to wear around my neck or map or like, there's going to be nothing.
You might still get that shit.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And that's where it's
but
backwards.
It's also in rather than paying £1,000 for a console, I will just go play Uncharted 1
on your PlayStation
on my PS5.
3. We'll get you a PS3 one day.
Yeah.
But either way, it existed. It was real. I would love to play it because Uncharted 4 10 years on still looks stunning. So I'm sure Uncharted 1 in the Uncharted 4 engine looks gorgeous anyway. And maybe get a few of the deleted scenes, and who knows. But final quick stories, Richie. Metroid Ravenous has been rated in the Brazilian ratings board page. This was spotted on the ratings website, and it says with the attachment saying more than one of these are coming. Metroid Ravenous. I would suspect this is the Metroid Dread team, not the Prime team, because Dread was very well revered and reviewed, if I recall.
Yep, 2021 as well. So
was that long ago?
Out?
Wow, that doesn't feel
assuming
like that
Nintendo
long
Life
ago.
are correct, yeah.
So I think we're probably due another fantastic, probably 2.5D Metroid called Metroid Ravenous. Probably at the next Direct, if it's been rated.
Yeah, I could see that.
Metroid Prime 4 Beyond reviewed quite well earlier this year. So
no, the next Direct is Ocarina of Time, and Ocarina of Time only Nintendo. Just get it fucking out.
Let's get it out.
Tell me when.
Another one for me that I'll get out is the beloved PS VR game Moss and Moss 2, or Moss Book 2, I think it was called, which was the cute little VR game with the mouse. Don't know if you remember it at all, Richie, when it first came out.
I never played it, but I remember of the game. Yeah.
I played it on the first one, PSVR 1, it'll have been. Really enjoyed what I played of it. I actually played it with my wife when I was trying to introduce her to the world of VR. Like, oh, you'll enjoy this. It was like, what's cute? It's a little platform game with a little mouse. And he's lovable and friendly. I think he's called Quill, if I remember rightly. And you very much like, you are the kind of the god in that world. Like, you're looking at the whole level from first person, so you can look around with your head, see behind things for clues or see how to solve puzzles, and you control the mouse with the joysticks. and they basically repackaged it, reformatted it so it's not fully VR. It's more of just a 3D world platformer. And repackage it. And games 1 and 2 are both coming out later this summer on all platforms. So it's getting rid of the shackles of VR with Moss the Forgotten Relic and bringing us a double bundle with both of them. And I'm looking forward to it.
16 quid.
Absolute bargain. I'm pretty sure I paid like probably 30 for the first one on VR.
Probably.
So there it is. And our last one is 2025's Warhammer 40k Space Marine Remaster. That was inexplicably exclusive to PC and Xbox, is also on its way to PS5 and Switch 2. I didn't know, Richie, that this had came out. I played Warhammer 40k Space Marine in the lead up to Space Marine 2 coming out. Absolutely loved it. Played it on my backwards compatible PS3. I don't remember covering this at all, but at some point, apparently, this came out last year on Xbox.
So did you play this on Xbox then?
No, I played it on PS3.
Oh.
Then I got Space Marine 2.
You didn't play the remaster. You played
I didn't. I played the original
version
on my disc.
And then the remasters come out.
And I didn't even know.
And then 2, yeah.
No, 2 came out first, and then they kind of did like a cash grab, seemingly. Remastered the original after the fact. But it was exclusive to Xbox. But I guess I missed the memo, or it wasn't marketed. But now it's coming to PS5 and Switch as well. So now you can play Space Marine 1 and 2 on PS5 and Switch without the need of digging out your dusty old PS3 and disc and go back to it. Which, again, if you've not played Space Marine 1 or 2 and you just want a hell of a good time running around with a cover shooter mechanic and kill some orcs and blow off some Space Marine dust, great little games, maybe campaign of 8 to 10 hours tops. Really, really good. Very much like Gears of War, I think, was the biggest praise I could put on them. Very grounded, except for, one for the Emperor. June 10th apparently came out, so it will have been a year to the day. On day 1 on Xbox Game Pass. Passed me by, apparently. But Richie, we always like to end every single show by looking at this day in video game history. We're recording on July the 4th, so happy Independence Day to you traitors out there stateside for, I guess, when this show goes live. Enjoy your celebrations. We'll be back.
July the 4th.
Don't worry, we'll be back at some point. When it goes live, though. July the 4th. And I want you, Richie, to do me a favour. And 40 years ago today, in 1986, in Japan, there was a game released on the NES. It's right at the top of the page, and I'd just like you to try and read it for me, please.
Kanshaku Dama Nage Kantaro no Tokaido Goju-san Suji. I don't think I did terribly there.
Don't you swear at me. Yeah, I have no idea.
Kanshaku Dama Nage Kantaro no Tokaido Goju-san Tsuki.
Something like that. Roughly... do you think it actually translates to anything?
Well, probably, yeah.
Japanese
do a Google Translate
to English.
Well, I bring up Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos 24 years ago on the PC. What a fucking game.
Right, so this is what it translates to according to Google Translate. Kantaro the Firecracker throws journey along the latter half of the Tokaido. Kantaro the Firecracker throws journey along the latter half of the Tokaido. Don't know what.
The description is this is an action game where Kantaro, a fireworks thrower, travels to Edo to launch fireworks over the Sumidea River, where his fiancée, Momoko-chan, is waiting while fending off enemies along the way. Will Kantaro safely reach Edo and be able to launch fireworks over the Sumidea River?
I mean, for video listeners, I've pulled up a little bit of gameplay, and it sounds more serious than what the gameplay, but then it is 40 years ago on the NES. It can literally see like a ninja guy chasing another guy along, a Mario-looking inspired world. He's got 2 throwing knives, 5 something else, and it's a good happy one. While there's a guy with a crossbow trying to take him down.
Imagine asking that for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably still be able to find a physical copy even 40 years later.
And it probably still works with some of the NES has made it.
You know what? Let's have a look. eBay. While we're here, while we're rounding out this shit show of an episode. Yes, there you go. So for £8.87, Richie, you could get a copy of that aforementioned game.
Read its name.
It is Kanshakau Dama Nage Kantaru no Tokuaidu Goson Tsungi. San.
Not bad.
But, Richie, that is all we've got time for. Unless there's any more. Sorry, I didn't even go ahead to the 4th of July or...
4th of July, there's nothing.
No, Independence Day game came out on the 4th of July. Wow. Missed a trick with that one, didn't they? Every single year, and they've not announced one notable game. Oh, well. We'll bring it
nothing
to
on the Nothing on the 5th either. So just Kentaro and Warcraft 3.
Yes, that's it for this week's show on GamerGuild TV. Thank you very much for tuning in for episode 151 of the GamerGuild Podcast. We'll be back next week with all of your shit stories and other gamer news to round up. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
And remember...
自分が一番幸せを感じられる場所でプレイしよう。
I'll let Google Translate read it out for me because I definitely wasn't going to pronounce it. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.